This week's podcast is sponsored by Tantalised Beauty, specialising in lash and brow treatments, lash products and lash training. Find them on their website and follow them on Instagram. The link will be in the description. Thank you.
Yes, brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of the Nee Divvies podcast. And today's special guest is no other than Gary Carol. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Danny.
Good to finally meet you, mate.
Good to see you, brother.
In person.
Nice one.
My man.
Respect.
We're looking forward to getting you on, mate. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it not?
What's that, mate? What's that?
Aye. Gary, I've followed your story for a little while now. I first got introduced to you, regarding a topic last year, which we won't mention. But that's how we sort of come about speaking. And very interesting character, to say the least. I remember watching the documentary Mercenaries of War, which I'd like people to see, and I'm going to put the link in the description if that's all right.
Thank you, Dan.
Fascinating story, fascinating background. I'd like you to take the stand, if you like, for a little while. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your background, and maybe lead up until when you first joined the forces.
Certainly.
On you go, Gaza.
From a family, mate, 2 older brothers, 3 of us, big sister, and I've got a younger half sister actually. But good upbringing, mate. Good upbringing. I didn't really get bothered with it until a lot later on in life. And I've got good memories of my youth, Hard days, mate, because you've got to remember, I was born in 66. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in the 70s I was brought up, mate, so in them days it was all like waste grounds, air raid shelters, all that carry on, Yeah. Your mother couldn't get you into 10 at night and all them days. It was a happy upbringing, never had any bad days. And even in my youth, the big thing in them days, this is when I got used to making money for a very early age, was we had a thing called fruit picking, the berries. Every local done it, mate, but your mother kept you off school and you went and picked the berries for your school uniform, Because they were poor days.
Yeah.
My father left my mother when I was young, so she brought the 4 of us up on her own. And as I say, and then when I got into the cold weather, you went to the potatoes, the tatties as we called it. Mm-hmm. And that was a hard day's graft as well for 12 quid. But then you'd go home and give your mother the money. That's what it was all about, mate,
Yeah.
Never about you. And even in the summer holidays when you made money for your school uniform, the minute you've given your money to cover your school uniform, whatever was left was yours. So from an early age I was used to cash in hand, hustling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously it progressed into a lot more than that when I started wheeling and dealing as I got a bit older, Mm-hmm. But we'll get there. But yeah, as a youth, went to the karate at a very, very early age, 7. I had my black belt when I was 12 or something. Show everybody done karate in them days. Everybody. Bruce Lee, wasn't it? In the 70s it was the era of Bruce Lee.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And then hence the reason my son's called Lee, there you go.
All right.
And, And obviously the boxing was there. There was a lot of boxing clubs. When we were young, Danny, on the boxing, we were on every corner.
Yeah.
I could rattle off names like Whitfield Labour, St Francis, what we boxed for, Whitfield. It goes on and on. There was a lot of clubs, you know what I mean?
Of the sort
North End, this and that. They're gone now. Yeah, they're gone. Mm-hmm. We've got a big one. My nephew's boxing for Dean. He's boxing for St Francis for years there, but he switched to Lockheed Boys last week.
Right.
It's just to that age now, he's progressing and it's time. If he's happy, I'm happy,
Yeah.
But as I say, the 2 main clubs have survived, St Francis and Lockheed Boys. But yeah, everybody boxed, you know what I mean? Everybody amateur when we were young. Everybody.
What about school and secondary school and that? How was life? How was things in school for you?
I never had any problems at school, mate, right? Even though I was expelled.
Mm-hmm.
Never got a qualification. Never sat an exam. I was expelled at 15. And that was just for silly things like getting skinheads and going to school with a tattoo. 15 years of age, mm-hmm. Which obviously got us expelled. But I've got to blame my brother for a lot of this because I had a middle brother, not the oldest one. He was more like a father figure. Mm. My middle brother was a nightmare. I still blame him for traumatising us to this day, right? Boy, he was a nightmare. But that was his way of protecting me. I think in his head he always thought he was looking after me. But really, he was punishing us when I look back on it now. But nah, good days, mate. And as I say, I never really got led astray till like 14, 15 when I started going into the gang. I already had 2 brothers in there, you know what I mean? So it was inevitable I was going to go. And I always speak about the gangs when I speak about my youth, because I've got good memories of them, mate, from a local area, you know what I mean? So all there was the Hilton Huns, and we were all split in different areas, Loppy, Fleet, Hilton Huns, Finty, Selms, but all the different schemes, you know?
Yeah.
But I had good memories of that, mate. And, yeah.
Was relationship like with your siblings, brothers and sisters and your mum and dad?
Still close to this day.
Good.
Still very, very close, mate, yeah.
Good.
Still very close. And I'm the youngest. And I thought, my lucky stars are there by the grace of God go there, as I always say, that we're all here, we're still here to this day. So when I look at a lot of mates like I've lost a lot of mates, and mates who have lost brothers and family and that, yeah. Then I really feel blessed I am now. You know what I mean? To realise that we're all still still here.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, mate, yeah. And Danny wasn't kidding you, he says, well, it gets hot in here because it's sweltering, isn't it?
Oh, it gets warm in here.
Yeah, there's someone outside, guys, so it is quite warm, mate. I'm feeling that now.
Aye, mate, it gets canny warm and it'll just get warmer.
Does it? B company. But, so as I was saying, Danny, when I was very young, all my mates were getting in trouble with knives and blades and going to a thing like young offenders, Borstal. You heard it down here, did you? Right, the naughty boys went to the bad places. I escaped all that, you know, because I was always into my fitness. Trained 5 days a week, easy. I was always out running, Bergens on my back, this and that. And my older brother was in a thing called the TA Parachute Regiment for a very early age, and I went into that at an early age, and that sort of saved me from getting in trouble at that age, you know what I mean?
Is this when you first joined up?
Yeah,
was this your first?
In the territorial, so part-time, 17 in the Parachute Regiment.
Right.
But even though that was like full-time, you were there practically all the time, you know what I mean? Even though it was a territorial battalion.
Yeah.
Which you still go to the regulars and you still do the same training as what the regulars do. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's a TA, it's a Mickey Mouse. It was a very professional unit.
Yeah.
So after about a year and a half in that, I went to be a regular and went down to Aldershot and joined I went through the paras again, and all over again, and went to the 1st Battalion, Parachute Regiment.
I think there's a bit of a misconception with the common public, you know, with the TA. I mean, I know what it is, and I know
Definitely.
what it is. There's a bit of a misconception. People almost think they're almost like a half soldier, you know, and there's that. To the uneducated.
I'm going to correct that for you, right? Over in Afghanistan, over in Iraq, every medic was territorial, practically. You've got 2-1 SAS, 2-3 and 2-2 of the regular. Do you think the regular 2-2 regiment SAS are going to let 2-1 and 2-3 up in Invergilly and Dundee as 2-3 SAS, and the English ones down London way, right? Do you think they're going to let them put their grey beret on? No, they've got to go down there and go right through everything what they do. It's the same as the TA Paras. You go down to Aldershot and you went right through everything the regulars done. I should know because I've done it to them.
Yeah. So
there was exactly no difference. You done the boxing, the milling, you done the log race, you done the stretcher race, the gymnasium. It's a thing called P Company. So you've got to pass that to get your red beret. So I passed that first time. The TA passed the regulars first time. 11 out of 54. Passed it. And then I went to the French Foreign Legion after I won para. And I passed that first time as well.
So is that in France? I'm a little uneducated on the Foreign Legion.
A lot of people ask about the Legion, right? Now, I'll talk you through it. What happened was I went over to Paris. All I had mates in there for Dundee. They were in the Legion at the time. I went to a place called Fort de Nugent, a big fort in France, right? And you tap on the door. It's like something in a horror movie. Open the door, take your passport, you don't see that again. Bosh. From there, pass a couple of tests, and then I got shipped down to a place called Castelnaudary on a train. You go away doing South France. This is the headquarters of the Legion of Étrangers, Foreign Legion. You'll spend about 4 weeks in there. Keep taking you away to a place called Gestapo. And the reason it's called Gestapo is because the Germans held the building during the Second World War, Gestapo. And they keep taking you up there and they keep questioning. They want to know if Interpol's looking for you. They want to know if you've committed a murder or not. In the old days, they did take bad boys like that and that. No.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably one of the hardest regiments to get in the world. Now, because they get the best of everything going.
Yeah.
Ex-Paras, ex-Marines, ex-SS, ex-Americans, you know what I'm saying? So they've got the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to get in now.
So what was your personal incentive for going to the Foreign Legion? Did you feel you had a moral obligation, or what was your personal...
I was always looking for action, you know what I'm saying? I was always, and because I hadn't really seen real action in the parachute regiment, in one part of that, I was always chasing. So you're always looking for more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was a couple of lads for Dundee over there anyway, well, I knew, so that was my thing over there, you know?
Yeah.
So from Castleknock, after 4 or 5 weeks there, they'll ship you away to a place called, from Albany, they'll ship you to Castleknock, and that is the training Cateam regiment. It's the 4th Regiment Infantry, right? You'll go through your training in Castleknock, and it's fucking brutal, trust me. Like you were up early this morning, right? You phoned me at 6 o'clock. And I don't want to be 4 hours kept, mate, you know what I mean? Because we travel and hotel and that, I've not really slept much, but I don't get much sleep anyway.
Yeah.
So on that one, down in Castleknock, I was telling him a wee story with the other day, my pal, when I was saying, I remember, like, out in the parade square, 5 in the morning, every day, away the colour air, raising the flag, bugly, out the back, the Bessez-vous, alley in French, right, en avant, forward. Like, every morning you were at that fucking back door, mate. There was none of this, I'm not feeling well today, you know what I mean? There was none of this, I'm not going sick. And the brutality was still there in them days. Even though they'd passed a law in France in the 80s that they were meant to stop the punishment, the brutal punishment, they still hit you, mate, you know, big thing, yeah. You've seen people getting dropped every day, you know. So you had to learn the lingo very fast, mate, you know what I mean? Get with the programme very, very fast, mate, because it's big boys' rules now, mate.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them days, we didn't have mobiles, no social media, mate. Lucky you were allowed to write home for your Foreign Legion. 3 months you had done before you got permission to send a blue letter home. So you're on your own, mate.
Isolated.
Hey. Big boys' rules, it's called, isn't it? After Castleknock, they take you to a place called La Jasse, the farm. And that's when you'll do a thing called the Kepi march. Now the Kepi in the French Foreign Legions, they're white your heart. Kepi de bon. And that's sacred. So you do a march over the French Pyrenees, the mountains. They take you for 2 days down there, mate, and brutal, 80 kilometres. Up and down, and at the end of it, you'll march into the camp. Usually the new guys will have passed out. With your tenue on and your kepi and that, and usually the new legionnaires will have passed out. But it's rife with history, mate, you know. You've got to learn the French marching songs and it gets drilled into your head and all that, you know.
Yeah.
You got a guy called a Binom, he's a French lad, French-speaking guy, and he's meant to teach you French. He's meant to keep you right, you know what I mean? The basics, you know.
So they only communicate in French?
Yeah. You get caught speaking English, you get done, simple as that. But it's an obvious thing, the English kept together, did this? The Brits speak all it, you'd go together, so you were always getting caught. Parlez l'anglais, can't speak English. But, and I tell you a story, because I deserted after about 8 months in the Legion, when I deserted, right? And they kept me back because I had a bustier drill me a rocket launcher, right, and they sussed it out. You're getting an operation, Gary. I went, okay, for Africa. And well, I went on this exercise. And I'll never forget, my mother used to always say to me, see that spitting, it's going to get you in bloody trouble, lad. She used to always say to me, that spitting's going to get you in bother. And I came out the tent one day and I went like that. Fucking hell, so we bounced straight off the corporal chef's boot. Landed square on it. And you get a thing in the Legion called présentoir. It means you got my attention. So you've got my attention, boom, Legionnaire Carol, vite Mercenaries, do your company, you go into this, have his orders, waiting on orders. Fucking bang uppercut, right? I woke up, it was like something in the movies, you know, the wee stars. Man, honestly, mate, I remember waking up, it was getting dark. He hit us at fucking dinner time, mate. I was like, true story, lad.
Shouldn't laugh.
True story, lad. And that night, that's when I went, hey, well, oh, mate, now I've got to get back to Britain. No passport, no money. I can't go that way because I'll get lifted going to the ferry. I'm now heading to Italy Took me 18 days to get back to Dundee. No money, nothing. Eating apples on the... I got to the border of Italy, mate, and I'll never forget, I'm looking and there's this big border Gara where the train goes through. Because you've got Saint-Tropez, Nice, and then you come to the border of Italy. I'm going, oh, what the fuck again now? I'm fucked. No passport, I'm gobbled. That's the start of the Alps. I'm looking at the Alps going, fucking hell, don't tell me I've got to go there. Uh-huh. Took me 2 nights to get over the top of it, mate, yeah. But I was in Italy now. So I could only get arrested for being an illegal immigrant. Uh-huh. Whereas if I would have got arrested in there, I would have went back to Legion and got...
And was there no, like, sort of international warrants that out issued? Or
Nah, people used to always say, the search for you, know, I know that. Right. If I went back to France now, I'd get arrested. Uh-huh. I'd still arrest you, like.
I take it you haven't been back to France since. Avoid that place, mate. Aye. How old were you then? How old were you by this time?
Well, when I come back for you there, I was about 26, 27, and that's when I started getting in the bother. Obviously, I was back to Dundee now, and with the main boys there. Mm-hmm. On the doors, running the security, all the carry on, ball deep in crime. Aye. And I got 3 years for a slashing offence at a nightclub one night. And I was fighting.
I take it by this time the age and the crime and everything's elevated.
Yes. Well, I'm at that level, but your name's a household name in the city, yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I got 3 years for a slashing offence. Went to prison for the first time. So I was quite late. I was 27 when I went to prison. Mm-hmm. Which was like water off a duck's back after what I'd been through, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was running the show up there, basically, and came out. I was only out 18 months, never learnt my lesson, got 8 years for a shooting offence.
What was your first time in prison?
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing.
Like water off a duck's back. Mm-hmm. I was running the show up there.
Another day in the office.
Making serious money, Mm-hmm. I was back to the grind again. Oh. But I don't really tell people stories about the prison and that, and I know you're friends with Yami. I'm going down to see Yami next month.
Uncle Yami, big shout out Uncle Yami.
Big shout out Uncle Yami.
Yes,
I'm going down to see him next month. And I could relate to a lot of his stories. So I was doing things like that in the jail, doing contracts on people and all that. Yeah. Stabbing lifers and everything, mate. I was up to all sorts in there. Yeah. Because the aggression was fucking ripping at us, mate. It was just bad. It was a bad lad. Now when I look back on it now at this age, I don't know where it came from. As I say, I only got out. I was back on civil, you say 18 months, and I was back in again doing 8 years for a shooting offence. Crazy. And this is what saved me. After that big sentence, I got released in 2001. Scaffolding company, back on the scaffolding, because I was always doing a bit of scaffolding and a bit of this and a bit of scrap. And I was always working, always doing something. And he even bought my first flat. Very, very young. Bought a flat for 14 grand, mate. I was only 20. Even though he wasn't even in the city, I still bought a flat. 14,000, I sold it for 18 and a half at that age. I think, I've got to put a property back up road and that, I've done quite well. Yeah. When I look on it, for a lad without no level and that, I've done quite well, mate. Yeah. Considering what I've been through. But on that, came out in 2001, done a couple of years on the scaffolding. And this is what saved me, really. 2003, the British Army invaded Iraq. And when they invaded, they never realised that the security was going to go pear-shaped, right? And it went, so had all these American contractors going over. They put $18 billion in the kitty, right, for the reconstruction of Iraq. And what happened was, they couldn't get the people to do the jobs, because they were getting beheaded and this Al-Qaeda had kicked off, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, for a guy called Abu al-Zarqawi. And they were the first forerunners of that ISIS and that. They were called Al-Qaeda, Iraq. So the call went out for ex-paratroopers, ex-legionnaires, ex-marines and all to go on a thing called PMC, private multi-companies. So they're like big London companies and big American companies that won $350 million contracts and that. So when I went in the early days, 2004, we were rocking about with no bulletproof vests on, in a soft-skin vehicle like a BMW or an old taxi, your own weapons and that. It was crazy, mate, right? They were still running about looting, basically. And I got in there at the start. So we were on big money, mate, 350 quid a day. Big money.
How come there was a lack of equipment and resources? What was that about?
Well, at the start, we just hadn't had time to knit and build up in the companies and get identified. And in the early days, we were working with three-man teams and everything, right? Covert, it was called. undercover, 3-man team, but you'd have like 9 local. So like, you'd be in a car with 3, and I'd be in a car with 3, and be 3. Really, when the shit hit the fan, there's only 3 of you. I can guarantee they'd go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
and there was a lot of action over there, mate. I was there 2-4, 2-5, 2-6, 2-07. So I got a good run at it before I finally got up. And this is where the PTSD kicked in, right? I got blown up in 2007 with a roadside bomb. It was a massive bomb, right? It shouldn't have been here. Basically, we'd done 1,000 miles with a new general. And we got back to the camp and we were like 15 kilometres from the front door when the bomb hit the vehicle. And I reckon the guy was a trigger man, because you can set it off with mobile, or passive infrared. There's loads of ways to do it. And there's different IEDs as well. So they'll get like big mortar rounds and they'll rig it up. Well, the Americans done a test on what hit our vehicle, and I reckon there was 8 of them buried under the culvert. Massive, right? But it was a trigger man. So he's obviously been sleeping when we went past. Now, if he would have clicked it just a split second early, he would have got the middle of the vehicle. But he caught the back of the vehicle. And that's what saved the lives. If we would have caught the middle, mate, we wouldn't be here. We'd still be on the moon. Right? But I remember it clear as well. When he clicked that vehicle, it hit the back of the vehicle, but because of the force of the bang, it just picked up, mate. Threw it right down the road, mate. The vehicle, you've seen pictures of that, eh?
I have.
The one I came out of.
Yes, mate.
And spent 3 weeks in intensive care over in Germany. The Kazakhstan is over to a place called Landstuhl, American-German military hospital. That's where I take all the amputees and everything, you know? So I spent a couple of weeks over there. Had a broken back. My hands were smashed. Shrapnelled up and that right through us. But I always remember I was woken up and the guy said, I want permission to operate on your hands again. He says, well, I'll do. And it turned out he was one of the best surgeons in the world for America what operated on my hands. You could see that he'd done a good job. And when the report come back, it worked out like a bit of shrapnel had come into the vehicle, hit my weapon. I just took it in through the weapon had just gone through the side. And you put it there, it's always attached to you, mate. But a bit of shrapnel must have hit the weapon and it exploded on my hands. So that's how they took the strike. This is an interesting story. When we were all running around calling ourselves bodyguards or PMC, whatever you want to call it, right, private security, whatever. Well, we're all ex-military, right, so we had a lot of knowledge. It's the first time ever they'd ever worked alongside the American military or the British and that, so they never knew how to take us guys. They called us the Gucci guys because we were all jumping about with the best of gear on, you know. Glocks and M4s and a lot of magazines and all the best of gear. Armoured vehicles by that time and everything. Now, I always bought into this thing by saying, save the last round for yourself, and that's what you're going to do. If you get surrounded, Danny, you're going to put that in your head because you're not getting caught. You cannot afford to get caught.
You were going to end up on the internet or something like that.
Oh, of course, because that's what they were doing, eh? And if they would have caught you or not, they would sell you on for thousands of dollars anyway, hundreds of thousands. To have an infidel, a white man, to get you on there for the beheading, of course they would. So if that was going to happen, you were going to put one in your head. I'll never forget lying on that road, on the tarmac. Because when I rolled over, I had a pistol here and I'm trying to get it out and I couldn't get it out. I looked at my hand and that was like a boxing glove. That was doing that. And I went, that makes sense. My hand's broke. Use your left. But I kept bringing that over. That's when I looked at that. That was just snapped in half. That was a bit there. I was like, oh, fuck. Couldn't use them if I wanted to. Couldn't have done that if I wanted to, mate. But the thing is, your mates have went into their drills. They've seen the bomb going off and that. They've reversed. It's called all-round defence.
Training's kicked in.
Yes, well done. Training's kicked right in, you know what I mean? And through the team training and that's what saved their lives as well. But yeah, an interesting story, that one. So I was back in Dundee then, back to crime.
Just before we get on to that, can you just, if there is such an animal as a typical day, you know, if there is such an animal, you know, could you just run us through a typical day, perhaps the jobs you were given over there, duties you were, you know, to carry out, you know, give us a little rundown of a typical day.
Well,
if there is such an animal.
After a while, because I'd shown, I'd been promoted to a team leader, so I'm now in charge of a team of men. So in the morning, I'd go out and I'd give my team the job. I'd read the job out to them. So I'll go over and get the client. I'd go and get the client, which will be, some days it was CNN, news, some days it could be really, really high American generals. We were bodyguarding a military personnel, because it was called the Department of Defence, which meant I was officially working for the US government. And I told lies to get there as well, right? I never told them about my criminal past, or I wouldn't have been there.
Right.
Well, because I was an outstanding soldier and that, and because I was shown on the ground, and I was a team leader on that now, that was overlooked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was blagging it. But I was obviously doing the job good as well. So once you get your client in the morning and then you tell the team what you're doing, you could be going to examine police stations, or they could have had millions to put in the electricity, or the new water plants, or anything. Or it would have been American colonels or generals what were transporting about and everything, you know. So they had to go from base to base. So you'd pick them up, your team would then go and take them, deliver them, pick somebody else up, bring them back. Really like a taxi service.
Yeah.
But when you were out on the ground, you were getting spanked left, right and centre.
A lot of contact, yeah.
I lost. I was worked out 12 good mates in the space of 36 months. And I'm on about even a mate for Dundee, which flew over there with me. And he's dead. And, yeah. When I look back on it now. Crazy, mate.
Sounds it, Gaz. Sounds it, mate. Excuse me.
It's not until you start running the names through your head, man, you go, oh, good morning, Peters. Eves was an ex-French player. He'd been a mercenary, he'd commanded his own company over in Yugoslavia and that. Start putting the names through you and you're going at yourself, fucking hell. So it was worked out as a thing like survivor's guilt, that's what I reckoned. And when I got a year's counselling for post-traumatic stress, I was diagnosed with that in 2012. So I took a year's counselling. And they say you've got survivor's guilt. And it's funny because I always fucking blamed myself. I always say, why am I here? Even for young Dundee lads what are going on, I always say, why am I here? Like last week, burying a good mate again. You're always blaming yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not the answer, you know, matter. But I used to always say to myself, some of the lads, like, you're going away on a job a day, and you come around and you're packing his fucking bags to send back to his missus. It's hard, you know. It's hard to deal with at times, but you just keep putting it back in your head and putting it back. And so, right through life, you're putting things back in your head. It's a matter of time when someone gives. And it's not until you get injured and you're weak, that's when you feel weak. That's when you start feeling sorry for yourself. That's when the tears come. That's when you start crying. That's when you start opening up and telling people with things. And when you've done bad things in life, you know, it's nothing you don't want to tell anybody about killing somebody, innit? Well, you want to keep it to yourself. It's going to the grave with you, innit? You know, so you carry a lot of guilt inside until you do take counselling, and then it's explained to you that stop beating yourself up. And I always remember the shrink says to me, this was funny, the shrink says to me, you got to understand, Gary, you're conditioned to violence. He says, you were hit every day. I said, well, we were. He goes, so you're conditioned to violence, but that's not the answer in life. He goes, I said, but it's like when you're doing security on the door and that. I said, if I step back and put my hand up and tell the guy, that's my personal space now. If he comes back into that again, he's been in something bad with me. I'll strike out first. I'll stick the knot right on him. It's with it. Debate, because you know, in that environment you're in, he's trying to get close to you.
It's your programming.
Precisely. And it's not the answer, mate, you know. I've come a long way now, no? A certain individual, I'm not going to mention his name, he says, he's a washed up gangster, and I went, that's a lovely compliment to me now, because picking the phone up and getting somebody to do your dirty work and that, I done all that. I done that when I was young, when I fooled myself into that gangster shit. It didn't work, mate. You're just using somebody else here. You'd be going to put money on somebody else. Somebody puts money on you, you've got a serious health problem. Trust me. Doesn't matter who you are, in the real world. In that gangster world. They kid themselves on the loyalty and all this shit. Trust me, I've done 15 years in prison. It doesn't work. You go behind that door, and that door slams, then you'll find out where your mates are, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Then you'll see who's up to visit you. Then you'll see you sticking money in your PPC and that. It doesn't matter how much money you're worth. That visit means everything to you, mate. So I sort that pride to try to tell some of the young lads doing that. It's not worth it, guys, you know. I'll never tell them not to do something, but I'll try and give them a way out. I'll always give them an option, you know.
Well, who better to learn off than the people with all the scars?
Well done. Well done. And that's what I see now for the future. And that's why I started when I started speaking and trying to help some of the young guys. And I was saying to myself, if you're not going to listen to somebody who's done serious years in prison, you've got the scars and done all that, stabbings and shootings and being there and that, well, who the fuck are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to a policeman in a uniform, are you? I'm not going to say he's going to stop them doing it.
Like so many, the time will come when it's too late.
But as I said, with that compliment, as I call it now, he's all washed up. I went, that's great, because that shows you how far I've came in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You got to remember, I was pretty hardcore right through my life, darling. I only walked away with crime. What, 2015 I walked away.
I've heard.
No, but I walked away in 2015 when I made that decision. I'd had enough.
Yeah.
And I've stuck to that since. And I've been skint and all the rest of that, whether you've got property or not, when you're used to going about with that wedge, and you ain't got it and that, and you've had to, so easy to go back to the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that? Never knew anything different. I was in that game since I was 13, mate. 13. And that's an interesting one, right? I got expelled from school. So if I could tell you a gram, 28 of them makes an ounce, right? 3.5 is an eighth, and multiply that twice and you've got a quarter, like 7 gram, right? And there's 252 grams in a 9 bar, right? Multiply that 4 and you've got a key. Where the fuck did I learn my math? On the street. And there's a good bit of take for you. For a man without an O-level. And people always say, but you're intelligent, guys. And I'm like, I'm not intelligent, I just read books. But remember, you never had television in my day, mate. And I was always an avid reader in prison. I used to 7 books and that. I said to the shrink, I thought I was wired up wrong. I said, mate, is it natural to read 4 books at one time? He went, nothing wrong with that, Gary. I went, oh, I thought that was like abnormal. He went, no, it means you've got the capacity to do it. And what I meant was, I tell you, a book here and a book there. But I'm reading 4 books at different times, crazy.
Yeah.
You know, when some people struggle to take a book in. I always remember in prison, I used to feel sorry for the lads who couldn't read and write.
Aye.
You know, I used to say, how could they get through life? Through reading and writing, you know. Education, the greatest gift in life. I always say to young people, get educated. Yeah, education.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean to say we were less, well, naturally thick or uneducated. It just means we weren't given a chance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody's got a hidden talent, mate. They've got to find it. Yours is the boxing. You found out the hard way. It's no scaffolding, is it?
That's it.
There you go.
You know, we had this conversation the other day, and it was about, speaking to a friend of mine, and it was about, you know, the schooling and how there's like what's the word? There's like a genetic system for teaching everybody. You know, when are they going to teach people, you know, how to fulfil their individual potential? Because that's something that is not untaught. That's something you have to go within for. That's something you have to learn through time, you know.
Brilliant, I like that, yeah.
You know, when's that day going to come?
Good, mate.
You know?
Good. Because I remember the other week when I was watching your podcast with Big Alex. Shout out.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Yes, right.
And, oh yeah, he's full of knowledge, that guy. And
He
I was
is.
like that. Interesting. They're still teaching algebra and...
yeah, long division.
Well done. That's what I was looking for. I'm going, he's got a point there, eh? When did you last use algebra out there, mate?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But, no, interesting points.
Yeah.
And,
like I say, education comes in many forms, you know.
oh, defo, mate, defo.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are musically talented. A lot of people. They reckon everybody's got a hidden talent. You just got to find it, mate.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah. Still looking for mine.
Yes. So what about we're going to get onto a little bit about your, you know, how did you find your therapy after your PTSD? You know, how did you find it beneficial?
I was in denial, mate. I was in total denial that I had it right, and that was even explained to me for the shrink. He says to me, Gary, guys like you are the hardest guys to get to open up. He goes, because you've been conditioned for a very early age.
Defensive.
He says you were in the cadets at 13, Paras. He was went away to TA Paras at 16, lied about your age, 17. I went to regulars, and then you went to the Foreign Legion, and then you were that. And then after 2010, after the bomb 2007, by 2010 I was back to fitness. I was doing push-ups and back doing weights and that was after my broken back. I went back to Syria in 2015 as a mercenary. And that was all my own money, and that was off my own back and that. Now, people could slate you for that and say, what was he going for? He was just looking for war and that. But I believed in that the cause was right at the time. So if you believe, and because I'd been in the Middle East, so I ended up in Syria and that, helping the Kurdish Peshmerga, which, to me, fuck, I nearly went to Ukraine there, did I? Just as well got through, through off the convoy. I've already been there, mate. But nah, the PTSD side, mate, as I said, the guy said, guys like you are conditioned to be violent, Gary, so you think it's natural. He goes, so to get somebody like yourself to open up, because in the old days, it's a sign of weakness. Even the day, like, if Tyson Fury could go on record, right, shout out Tyson Fury, the legend. If he can go on record, mate, exactly, mate, right, about mental health, who are me and you know to speak about it? Mm-hmm. So I always say to people, speak, mate, speak. We've all known people who have hung themselves. We've all known people who have committed suicide and that. Speak. Talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. I mean, open up. That's the only advice I can give them. Open up, speak. I help a lot of guys, mate. You'd be surprised at the kind of things that I do during the weekend of being. My phone never halts, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's good, that, Gaz, and it's a brilliant point, that, and, you know, like you say, Tyson Fury, you know, is that personified, you know, this image of macho, strong man, you know, but yes, you know, has absolutely no problems or qualms discussing his feelings, you know, in depth and length, you know.
He's a complex character as well, isn't he?
Certainly is.
Yeah.
He certainly is, mate.
When the session with old Tyson Fury, he's a legend.
He is indeed.
And the family as well.
Yeah. Yes, mate.
There's a lot more to that old Tyson Fury meets the eye, but his old man's a legend as well, as you know.
Aye, one brother-in-law just spent a day with John Fury there.
Yeah, so that's one of my main bucket list.
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
How to meet Big John.
Just to get in that caravan with him. Have you seen him? He just sits out in that field.
Yes, mate.
Brilliant.
Aye.
You know, now there you go. Somebody made fun about somebody hitting a punch bag, right? And I went, well, that's funny now. Because in the gypsies, that's what they do, eh? They go in the field and hit a punch bag. Mm-hmm. Not about the boxing, it's not about that, it's just about a bag, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now on that one, on my family side, right, this is interesting. My mother's English, right, from Lincoln, Spalding. So my grandfather, who I've never met, the big millionaire down there, if you Google him, it comes up, Holmes, scrap metal merchant. So my mum was Shirley Holmes. So when she passed away, when I got her death certificate, my brothers called me English as well because I was born on Aldershot.
Right.
Right. It's red and white.
Uh-huh.
Instead of blue and white.
Right.
It's red and white, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So on my mother's death certificate, I had my grandfather's father was a travelling showman from the circus.
Right.
So there's a bit of high cheeker in us as well, mate.
It's in your blood. Yes, mate.
There you go, mate.
Brilliant, mate.
Mental, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Brilliant, mate.
I'm going to have to do a bit of the family research, the tree and that, and get that side of it.
Yeah.
On the Carol side, my father, his father, my granddad Pat, his father's been a priest. Meet that one.
Mm.
Maybe that's where the faith comes from.
Maybe, because of...
And it's funny, this is really interesting, right? You see, I never speak about my faith. No, not many people. I don't go about Bible passing to nobody, right? I went to the church a few years ago. It was crazy. I just got up one day, right? I'm all devils, big devil tattoos, and I'm devil. My nickname was Taz, the Tasmanian devil, right? Mm-hmm. For a very early age. Apparently, when I kicked off, I was like that cartoon, the Tasmanian devil, and I stuck with it for a very early age, right? So, guys, the Taz, it stuck. But on that faith side, it's interesting, right? I woke up one day and I went away in the cupboard breaking about and I got my mum's little gold cross I've got on. And I put it on my neck. I never wore a cross my whole life. This is at 50 years of age. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, 52 or something. 57 now. And I'm like that. I put a cross on. And I went down the church and I started taking a bit of interest in it and I was like, wow. He pointed out to me, he says, see that Mercenaries of War? Go back to that video and check how many times you refer to the Lord in it. I said, I don't speak about God in there. He goes, you keep saying inshallah. He says, God's will. Mm-hmm. He says, but you're just saying it in a different...
Yeah.
I went, right. And he says, and you say there by the grace of God go, you know. He goes, you're always referring to the Lord. And he's got a valid point.
Yeah.
Big Celtic Gordon Stewart, you know,
Yeah.
the other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he keeps his right with a lot of things, and is what it is, mate. None of my mates hear me Bible blasting and that. See, faith, I say to people, you see, you can't have a fly flag or a pint or anything. I say, it means you, how you relate to it and what you get out of it. And if it works for you, if anything works for anybody, do it.
Couldn't agree more.
See, these people put people down for trying in life, and that's why I always use the word trying. You're trying, you're trying to be a better man, If somebody's trying to better themselves, it doesn't matter to put them down.
Absolutely.
Fucking wrong, isn't it? It's wrong to put somebody down, mate. You know what I mean?
Irrelevant of faith, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's faith, if it's spiritual, or even if it's just some journey that someone's on to should be continually better.
Why hate on them, Support them.
Absolutely.
If it's working for them, support them. I'm all for that, mate. You never see me hating on anybody, Danny. Never. It's just not my nature.
And it's rare in this world, to get something that'll work so clearly for one person and it's going to work for the friend. Life isn't like that. It's it's individual.
Well done.
It's very individual.
And I think because we're coming back to the wolf, right? You're a wolf and I'm a wolf. It's just the way it is, right? You're either born a natural leader or you're not, mate. I've believed in that my whole life. You're born a chief or an Indian. I'm unlucky. I was born a fucking chief, mate. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. But what I mean by that one is sheep mentality. A lot of people are sheep. But by saying the wolf, I don't mean we're a bad wolf. I mean we're a shepherd. Right? The shepherd of the sheep.
Yeah.
You always get that. And I refer to that with people on bullying. I say, nobody likes a bully, Oh, you've been a bully, you've done this and that. I say, maybe I have. Maybe I've done certain things what people could class as bullying. Doesn't mean to say you're a bully. Can't guarantee you 80% of my trouble in life's been for somebody else. Stepping up for somebody else, I'll guarantee it was. Right through life, it's always been like that, mate,
Yeah.
And even to this day, make no bones about it. If it's a family or a close friend, I'll step up.
It's very difficult for myself, and I can tell for you, to sit and put your eyes on somebody that's struggling or hear about somebody struggling and sit there and just watch them and do nothing. It's not within my nature, and I can certainly tell it's not in yours, Gaz.
It's not my nature, Danny. See, when I hear people going about money and everything, listen, I've had it all, mate. Diamonds, gold, tags, jeeps, I've had the lot. See me, nothing now. I've given away that much. Materialistic things.
Yeah.
When I was young, I wanted the bling. I used to wear the Rolexes and all that nonsense and all that. The bling was everything. Gave everything away. No interest in it, mate.
Wealth's here, Gaz.
Yes, I'm rich every day, mate. Well done. I'm rich every day.
Likewise.
Rich every day, mate.
Yes, mate.
And as you get older, and believe me, when I look back on it now, I've had some close calls. I should have been gone a few times. Real close calls. When I look back on it now. And I say to myself, blessed, yeah. But I do believe there's been a protection around us, mate, right? And I really do believe that.
Yes. Likewise, Gaz.
He could lift it at any time, mate. He could take that for you at any time.
No doubt about it.
Hence the reason Mike Tyson got knocked out in the ring, because it was took away from him. Simple.
Listen, when your number's up, your number's up.
Well done. Well done.
You can always take comfort in the fact you haven't got a choice.
I always say to young guys in the ring, I say, listen, you're going about boxing, you're going about this and that, right? I say, never forget, guys. If you can watch Mike Tyson get put away in his heyday, it's not good enough for Gary Carol. Of course it is.
Exactly.
Who am I to think I'm better than, come on, man, you get in the real world.
Yeah.
A lot of people fool themselves, you know what I mean?
They do.
But learning by your mistakes is a great thing. Some people never learn by their mistakes, do they? And one's bitten twice shy of me.
Yeah. It's a very interesting point that Gaz it about, we'll call it higher power, protection. I've had quite a number of near-death experiences, as I'm sure you have.
I'll bet you have.
And it's a funny thing, those times when you're on death's door and your life is very close to being taken away. Never recognised it then and then. It's only as I've matured as a person and I've looked back and I've thought, without a shadow of a doubt, I was protected by something greater than myself.
I'm glad you've recognised that at that age, because I couldn't recognise it at your age. As I said to you the day when I came on, I was, Danny, I'm an old man, people forget that. See, getting old, it's hard, mate, right? No warrior likes to accept he's getting on in life. Nobody does. Nobody likes handing the mantle over. I was clever. When I recognised the young team coming through, I'm on about the strong, the Wolves. I was always good with them. I never bullied them. See, no, you come mess it, you'll see the respect I get. You hear clowns on that YouTube going, oh, the young team slap Gary Carol about in Dundee. Come on. The respect they've earned. Come on. Because it was done by identifying the Wolf and always looking after the young team and that. Because they're always clever enough to say, look after them and they'll look after you.
Yes, guys.
And I've got a lad in Dundee. Actually, I'll show you, boy, Matt O'Reilly, right? World champion, kickboxing. Uncle Taz, you don't use them now. That's what I'm here for. I burst out laughing in the booth when I said, boy, stop it. He's like, but he was giving us a compliment, as ever say, but you don't need them now. That's what I'm here for. And that's respect, you know.
So can I ask you how you deal with your trauma up until now? Because you seem to me, guys, from the conversations we have, and that, you know, you seem pretty together.
I'm in a great place, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm in a great place, honestly. Mate. Every day I'm out with my wee Staffy, the star of the show, Blue Boy. Shout out Blue Boy. He's got more fans than me. My Staffy's with me 24/7, mate. He goes everywhere with me, right? He's a character. And you'll even see, if you look on some of your comments, I know you're a busy man, you've not got time to go through them, that. You'll see people relate to certain things or yours and mine. And, Gary helps me with my PTSD or that. Some of them lads have been speaking to me for a couple of years. Couple of years now. And I always say, like the guy the other day, Gary, I'm thinking of getting a dog. I said, get one. If you've got a property, if you've got a bit of space for that, nearly get one if you're in a tournament away from 10 up. You know what I mean? I'm against that, because the dog, it's not fair on the dog either. But getting an animal's great. A great thing, mate, you know?
Yeah.
A great thing for anybody, because the animal will force them to go outside, mate.
Yeah.
And you're feeling lazy, you're like, but it's needing out, so you've got to take it out.
Brought me conveniently to a point I was going to make as animals. I liked, when I've watched that Mercenaries of War and Nee
The horses.
I've seen that at least 5 times, maybe half a dozen times in full. Talk me a little bit through how that came about, you know, the horses in like somewhat of a sanctuary and that was being made.
Still there. I walked out of it, mate. I lost 49 grand on that.
Aye.
And I walked out on my own accord. I'm not slating the guy. Tam came to me and says, I may do this and that. He's a lot younger than me, and I went in it with him and I gave him a lot of support, and I took a lot of people through Dundee, and we got up and running. I had 5 horses on it. He might have more than them. Best luck to him if he is. But a lot more money in it, supported him, and it was a great thing. I thought that, but I didn't agree with some of his. I just went against my own moral compass. That's all I'm going to say on it.
It was a certain methods and that were being implied.
His way was not my way, right? So with veterans, I wasn't going to get targeted, mate. I walked away from it. I said no.
Okay.
Because it was to do with veterans, with PTSD and that. And it was a great concept, you know what I'm saying?
It was.
And I took the lad Mihail through, because he came through to do a documentary on my life. When he came in from Bulgaria, they'd done that, Mihail Kunchev, great lad, came in. And he got in contact with me, and some of his documentaries are outstanding. He's went on a lot better things now. And he's like, I'm going to do a documentary on your life and that. And he went over to Kurdistan to do a doc on some mercenary over there. And the guy went, it's Gary Carol, you want to go and get a hold of? You know, so you've done a bit of checking up on me. And then when he come in, I'll never forget he says to me, because there was a lot cut out of that. I took him through some unarmed combat with a blade and everything, right? And apparently it was that fast, they never caught it on the tape. And honestly, he's got the original footage when I took him through some of the moves with a blade for a boot knife. And obviously if you're a bodyguard, you've got certain things to do with unarmed combat. Anyway, when I took him through it, he tried to catch it 2 or 3 times with the cameras, right? And apparently it was he couldn't make a head nor tail with it when I took him through the unarmed combat. But that was cut out of it. There were certain bits cut out of it. But I always remember him saying to me one day, Gary, I am 32. He goes, you are 52? I goes, that's right. Because I was only in 2017.
Yeah.
He's like that, he says to me, I would not have liked to have met you when you were 32. That was mental. It was a lot bigger then as well.
I'd like to urge anybody to watch that. I've mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to put the link in the description, because it's riveting, really, that you know, to watch it, and especially the aftermath. You know, really good watch, mate. That's all I'll say. You know, that's all I'll say on that, guys.
I think he smashed it, the lad. Like, he put on a good documentary, right?
Did.
Definitely.
Very good watching.
He nailed it. I'd say he nailed it, like, definitely, like, you know.
Yes, mate.
But there's talk of Mayhill coming back to Scotland this year
Aye.
from Bulgaria. That'll be interesting. Yeah, maybe get a part two.
Yes, mate.
And so I say to people, sometimes I tell stories and I always make fun of them. Everything's a big joke to me, right? Loads of people say, Gary, can you not take life serious? And I'm going, wow, how can I take life serious with what I've been through? Tell you a story I've never told anybody, right?
Yes.
We were over in Kurdistan at the time, right? Fighting ISIS. And I was with this team of mercenaries, right? So it was me for Scotland. All the gear and no idea. That was the nickname I'd give the boss, right?
Right.
You know, a typical American, bumped up with the juice, the big beard, all the gear, no fucking idea. That's what I called them, right? A couple of New Zealand SES guys, they'd went AWOL. They were getting prison when they went back to their country because they were over there fighting. You're not meant to be in a war zone, right? And you're doing highly illegal things as a mercenary. You're freelancing it, you know. You get caught, your country will deny you straight away. You know, he's no one else, he's no American, he's no British, so you're in a grey area. Anyway, we went into this, I think there's a bit of footage, you've maybe seen it with me standing in the blood at the side of a vehicle and that, and it's all shot up, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I've turned around and took a daft selfie of myself, right? No thinking, right? But I'm actually standing in the guy's brains. Well, there was bodies everywhere when we went into this hospital. And ISIS had been in there 2 hours before us. When we came over, we got in there too late. They got the doctor, they beheaded him. And they took 8 guys out of the beds and they butchered them, right? 8 patients. So they were all lying about the ground when we went in there. So because I was with this team of mercs when we went in, we all wore balaclavas. We always had to wear balaclavas so they couldn't be identified, you know. And all the gear and no idea, fucking this lunatics. Drove the vehicle right up this road and he's got me jammed, he's got me stuck basically, right? Because we've got this, it was called an American MRAP, it's a big American vehicle. We'd captured that a couple of days before. And we'd modified it and put a big machine gun on the top and we'd made it like, we're on like Mad Max vehicle, right? On the gear and that, right? Yeah, a big American vehicle, right? So we're sitting in the back of it, I goes, that's we're fucked. And this Canadian guy goes, what do you mean? I goes, what are we going to do now then? He went, we'll be okay. I goes, really? Right. I could tell he's never been in combat before, right? And it was a bad experience finding out because he was a lot older than me as well, beat that one. I was 49 on the front line. And I says to him, who were you with? Well, I was in the IDF, meaning Israeli Defence Forces. Well, they only do a year conscription. I'm looking at my that as if I say, and I'm expecting a bit more, like, you know. I says to the guy, you realise I was in Fallujah in 2004, and if I'm here in 2015, do the math. So he's at me, oh, you were in Baghdad, 2004? I goes, yep. So now he's starting, this guy who I was having the problems with, all the gear and no idea called him, right? He was the boss, ex-Navy SEAL. Massive. I says to him, oh, you fucked it now, have you? He's like, what? I goes, we're fucked, we're stuck. Here, the Peshmerga's only stopped a kilometre up the hill when we've rocked down this alleyway, right? We're up there on our own, half a mile up. Fucking surrounded me. We got stuck here for 3 days, right? Really scary, mate. So every time my ball was really cast, right? I'm sitting in the back of the vehicle, fuck me, what are we going to do, mate? And there's another video, I've not showed anybody, but I've actually got an RPG with four warheads on it, right? Sitting in front of us, I've got a machine gun here, and I've got an AK here, and I've got, the guys at me, Gary, you got enough weapons? I goes, I'm going down fine. I goes, fuck that, man. I goes, we are. What happened was one of the lads was up on the top, and we had night vision, right? Optics, and he was marking on the side of the vehicle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So I fell asleep, right? About 2 hours, and I wake up and I hear this thud, thud, thud. Common sense kicked in. I went, it's only been more couple of hours, dude. I went, really? He goes, what is it? I goes, you don't know what that is? He goes, they're making murder holes. It was a sledgehammer, that's so fucking close they would got around with me, right? And we're sitting in this vehicle. We're fucked, mate, right? What saved was, the ball boy, we used to have the intercom, and we'd listen to the chat. And we'd listen to the radio chat during the night. And I heard the two of them speaking French. And the Kurds, they were speaking Kurdish. I'm speaking broken Arabic, which I could do. right? And I'm trying to work out with it, and these guys start speaking French. Two of them were French. And I've picked up Sankunu 5 in the morning, and they're on about fucking hitting with a spanking with the Duska's a 556, no, that's 556, Cat Carol and do like transferring for 50 mil, 50 cal basically, right? To the Duska's a big like anti-aircraft. And I'm a Russian Duska it's called, right? And I'm like that. They're on about bringing heavy weapons up. It was weird getting it at 5 in the morning, and I was able to understand about half the conversation. So when I referred it to the Kurds and told them we're in serious fucking trouble, the Kurds pushed forward for us and let us leg up the hill. That's what got out of there, mate, right? It was like something like that. Have you ever watched that movie, Mogadishu?
No.
Black Hawk Down.
Yes.
Watch that. See, at the end of the movie, that's a true bit and what happened on Mogadishu. That's what happened there, right? And even when they're passing out now, it's called the Mogadishu Mile because the guys got left behind and they've got to run up the last stretch on their own. Well, it was like that, mate. I was going, well, I'm at the back here, the young guys are off. Oh, boy. Hilarious, mate. But I'll tell you one thing, I'll never forget, when I put my camera on at 5 in the morning, because they were on about Mezzian. Mezzian's the first call to prayer. And then all you hear is that, and then mosque kick in, you know, it's quite scary. Allahu Akbar, it comes to life, you know, it's intimidating. And I said to him, we're getting spanked at 5 in the morning. How do you know? I said, trust me. As soon as I put my camera on at 1 minute to 5, all you heard was the bullets bouncing off the vehicle. Boom, boom. Oh, mate, it was a close one. Yeah, that was a really scary scenario, like, you know. When I look back on it, I was like, wow, how did we get out of that? But yeah. Good done.
Yes,
yeah.
bro.
Yes, bro.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Aye, so talk me through a typical day in the life of Gary Carol nowadays, mate. What do you do with your time?
Well, I'd call retired now, mate, because I certainly don't do crime, that's for sure. I'm away from that. And I've got 2 properties up there, mate, and I've sold the property next door, and that was because my wife's mother and father passed away in the space of 9 weeks. And he was a legend. My wife's dad, he owned his biggest scaffolding company in the UK.
Aye.
Was Dundee guy called Tom Stewart, my father-in-law, the rest of them. 94 independent scaffolders, this was in the 70s.
Aye.
Yeah. He was the first man who got offered the contract to take scaffolding offshore on the rigs.
Right.
It's a fact. He told me, he used to own the Dundee ice hockey, the ice rink. So he owned the team there, the ice hockey, Dundee Rockets. And they won everything up and down the country, Birmingham, in the 1980s. They wiped it clean. Because he was the first man to import French-Canadian players, professionals.
Right.
Put them on his team, so they wiped the UK clean, won everything. Dundee Rockets, Google,
Aye.
Tom Stewart. And I used to see him going about the city in his big gold Rolls Royce and that, you know. And he only had a daughter, Michelle. I've been with his daughter 33 years.
Aye.
There you go.
Well done, Gaza. That level of commitment is rare nowadays.
Speaks volumes, yeah, on her behalf, I should say, mate. Standing by us through all that nonsense I've been through,
Aye.
mate. Come on.
Yes.
Big shout out. And I've only got one son, Lee. And a lot of my time, big shout out, a great lad. Lee's a football coach.
Yeah.
And never brought patrol on my door either, Touchwood. And he's 32. I think I've sent you some photos of his body.
That's right, I've seen him. He's a good shape of a man,
He's a
yeah.
fit lad,
Yeah.
And so he's got 2 boys. Dre and Obi, my grandchildren. My life's about them now, mate.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So, because I'm getting a chance to put back into life, Danny, what I lost with my son. And this is what people forget. See the damage that's been done internally. I done a lot of time with Saltery and that. Right? I done a lot of time with the diggers and that, right? I did.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s and that, I did, mate.
Yeah.
And I say to people, you have no idea what prison was like when I was at.
Yeah.
No TVs. No camera securities. The violence. Used to sleep with an 8-inch dagger on my leg.
Yeah.
In the neck. With a tuba grip on, with that strapped in your leg. That's not natural, mate.
Yeah.
Because the violence was rife. In the old halls. Brutal.
Got a bit of a different prison system in Scotland, haven't they? You know, you don't have Cat A's and that. Do you have like long-term prisons and that, don't you? I know you have remand centres like we do, but quite a bit of a different setup, is it?
Different setup, yeah. But even in that, there was Cat A prisoners in Midjail at that time.
Aye.
Because they'd go about with a big yellow stripe up them, you know.
Right.
And saying that, we're going through a film with a lad in big shout with Johnny Boy Steele, and they're a famous family from Glasgow. There was a carry-on up there called the Ice Cream Wars.
I remember that.
So we
remember reading about it.
Joe Steele got framed for the murder. They done 18 years or 20 years before they won the royal pardon. I'm in a big bare-knuckle boxer called T.C. Campbell. He's dead now for the rest of them. So Johnny, his bar was a legend. He got 3 years for escaping from Barlinnie and all the rest of it. But I'm going through a film with Johnny soon, and we're going to do a bit of work on the prisons and that with him, yeah. I might be going in to talk to some of the young lads and that.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Positive stuff, mate.
It's all positive with me, mate. That's not got time for negativity, no time.
Yeah.
You know.
Good man.
He was saying to you coming around the corner there, and I say, it's dead easy to send somebody on somebody's sent you, and it's negative, and
Like that, mate.
you straight away think of it and go, why did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's the last thing the guy wants on his phone.
And it manifests itself in funny ways. This ego stuff as well, because you can think of something
Bang on.
a little bit witty. You think, I tell you what, I'll just nail this with something.
Well done.
Next thing you know,
Goes back and bites you right on the
they've said
arse.
something wittier.
There
and
you go.
Before you know it, you've got to respond, and you're involved. You know, it's ran away.
You got to
with you.
understand, Danny, none of us are used to a social media carry on and
Right.
sitting here and talking and testing and that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you've done one
Yeah.
podcast or 10 podcasts, you know.
Yes, mate.
And shout out young Ben Hatchett, great lad. I done one of these with Ben.
Hatchett, yeah.
And he
That's
knackered
right.
it.
That's right. Well, I heard about it. And
He
never-
smashed one of the bed podcasts, and I always remember coming outside and saying to young Kyle, he took us to him, and I went, it's the best one I've ever done. He's just smashed it, Ben
Aye.
Hatchett. And the recording was done.
That's right. Well,
You had the smoke going up and all like James English. It was a cracker. It was a good setup in a gymnasium. It was
Yeah.
a brilliant podcaster.
mate, that's what you'd be up against if I had the reins. Thank God for Curbs. You know, big shout out to the Immortal Art Studio
Yeah,
for making
well
it
done,
possible.
mate. Yeah, well done. Thanks.
Yes, guys. Well, I'm gonna ask you a question now, which I'm asking all my guests. I want to know where Gary Taz wants to be, or where he would like to be in 5 years' time.
Whoa. 5 years, I'll be lucky if I'm still here, mate. But
You'll be here.
I'll be here. I've no intentions of checking it out
You'll
like
be
that. I ain't going anywhere,
Yeah.
mate. No, as I say, I'd like to get involved in it if I could help some of the young lads being, or going to schools. I've been invited to go into a couple of local schools to talk to the kids.
Brilliant.
And if I could put anything over, if I could stop one young lad from getting prison time, come on, mate.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, because I know you've been in the army and all that, so the ask you and that, I'll always direct somebody going into the military. It was always a pure working man's escape.
Yeah.
Joined the army at 17, 3 years later, you're killing me. See, I know people got a different view on it now because of Afghan and Iraq and everything, it's all changed, but it was always a working man's thing,
Yeah.
the army, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The military.
Yes,
And
mate.
even Big Alec was on here, was in the Royal Marines and that. You know, it's
Yes,
the
mate.
making of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you your discipline.
Yeah.
All right, I went wrong later on in life and I accept that, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to correct it now.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, if I could help any of them, I'm there. And feel free to approach me, just email me, whatever, get in touch. Anything I can do, I'm there.
Nice one, guys. I'm
100%.
gonna put your new channel in the description. And before we get on to that, I noticed you changed your channel, mate. And
Interesting, Dan.
yeah, I just want you to say
I'm
a
glad
little
you
bit
picked
about
up on that, brother. And I'll tell you why, right?
you dropped the
Because
Taz, mate.
I started with the Gary Taz Carol, and that was my nickname since I was young, right? And I've had that, and it's on my car and everything, Taz, right? Childish. But as you get older and wiser and that, and I was always at the ferret with the devil and that, the Tasmanian devil and that, and I just thought, maturity there, I went, I'll walk away from that, and I got my 1,500 subs to you. Send them away.
Aye.
And you did. And my channel was flying there and that, and I thought, I've had negativity on there with a certain idiot up there.
Yeah.
And I took down all that, and but it's still been through that.
Mm-hmm.
The ferret, the Taz on and that. So I've bounced up with, I was happy that week I had 40 subs or something.
Aye.
I think I'm on 60 now.
Aye. Well, hopefully this podcast will get you a few
well,
more.
this
guys.
will smash it,
I'm
mate.
going to put your link in the description, mate, and people can. Well, hopefully we'll get a bit of traffic over your way, mate, and they can
And another
soak
thing,
up
right?
some of this positivity.
Another thing, the new channel, right, the Scottish Ramblers, young Kyle, Weldon lad, and this is a story I want to tell here, mate. That lad reached out to me, and we're best of pals now, right? In the last 2 years. I've only known him for 2 years. All because of the Mercenaries war documentary.
Aye.
He was suffering with depression, felt with his bird, all the rest of it. Got in touch with me. I took him for a beer. Been my best mate ever since. And even his father's phoned us up and thanked us for it. And his dad's jealous. His dad's like, no, I'm going to camp with his dad shortly. But Kyle's wanting his wee channel up there, the Scottish Ramblers, and we'll be putting content up there.
Well, we'll put his link in the description, guys. How's that?
Definitely, because we're going to get some of the young lads up the hills, and I've got a guy, Harry McKay, ex-Falkland veteran, but he's a mountaineer rescue. And he'll be showing them on the abseil and everything, so if we can get some of the kids up there, anything, anybody, doesn't need to be PTSD, depression, whatever, anybody, mental health, get it. They'll be welcome to come up for the weekend and we'll get them up the house, mate. That'll be good.
Respect, guys.
So that's positive, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Good direction, mate. I like
Good,
it.
mate.
I like it, guys.
Good.
Any shout outs from back home? Any businesses, any companies you want to promote or plug, or any friends or family you want to give a shout out, mate? Now's your time.
I'm a family man now, mate. I've done all the businesses, I've helped them all, mate. But now my son Lee, respect son, and young Dean with the boxing, get us that gold. You've promised us it. Yeah, it's all good, mate. I'm happy.
Brilliant, Gazza.
Good, mate.
Brilliant, mate. Well, I just want to close it with another shout out for the Immortal Art Studio for making this possible, taking the podcast to the next level. And I want to give Hideous Clothing a quick shout out. They're going to be sponsoring the podcast next week. Hideous Clothing sent me a great big bundle of clothing. We're going to get into that next week, but I just want to give Hideous Clothing a big shout out for the generosity and the kindness. Thank you very much. And we'll leave it there, guys. That's a wrap.
Good, Danny. Pleasure, son.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
This week's podcast is sponsored by Tantalise Beauty, specialising in lash and brow treatments, lash products and lash training. Find them on their website and follow them on Instagram. The link will be in the description. Thank you.